start on Syria. Senator McConnell, you said the president had a very good week last week, but there were some calls saying that, do you think, even though you support the airstrikes, that he should have asked Congress before the strike happened?
No, it didn't require any kind of congressional approval. He had clearly the authority to do it.
And what do you think the next steps should be in Syria should Assad attack his people again?
Well, if he uses chemical weapons, I think the message is pretty clear. Look, there's no easy solution to Syria, and the president is not suggesting that this retaliatory strike is going to solve the Syrian quagmire. You have all different kinds of forces inside the country. ISIL, which is a singular focus of ours, we're in the process of pushing them out of Iraq. They're almost out. There's tough fighting in western Mosul. Mosul's a city, of course, near the Syrian border. The headquarters of ISIL is inside Syria, at Raqqa, and we are involved in helping to destroy what they call the headquarters of the caliphate. That doesn't solve the ultimate Syrian quagmire. There are all different kinds of terrorist groups in there. There are people fighting the administration of Assad, the Russians trying to prop him up, the Iranians trying to prop him up. No, this isn't going to be a solution to Syria. I will say this about whenever a final solution is reached in Syria, I can't imagine it would include Assad, the Assad regime, surviving.
What do you say to those who question how effective the action was in Syria when, within a day or two, that airbase was being used again?
Well, it was only designed to send a message with regard to the use of chemical weapons. It chose not to destroy the airfield. Airfields can be quickly replaced. So it's important not to read too much into it, but it was a dramatic departure from what the previous president would have done. Instead, you recall, he said, I chose not to strike them. I talked the Russians into getting the chemical weapons out of the country, and that was the perfect solution. Well, it didn't turn out too well.
But you say don't read too much into it, but it was a very important message to everyone. But if that message is, we're just going to strafe you and we're just going to not even really damage your ability to carry out another attack, what kind of a message is that? Well,
let me try one more time. This was a strike to send a message to Assad that this is what happens when you use chemical weapons. It was also, because of the assertiveness of the act, an interesting message to a lot of our adversaries around the world and our allies around the world that this administration is going to be more assertive than the previous one, because President Obama had the same military option available to him. Instead, Secretary Kerry said he had talked the Russians into getting the chemical weapons out. That obviously was not the case.
Do you believe then that the message is next time we'll do more damage?
The message is America is going to lead again. It doesn't mean sending in the troops into every conflict, but it's pretty obvious. If you look at the reaction of our allies, look at the reaction of our allies. They were very much encouraged by what we did.
What do you say to the American people who have concern that Syria could be the launching part of a large war scenario with Syria, Russia, possibly Iran on one side, and U.S. and its allies on the other?
Well, you can ask about all kinds of scenarios, but this was about what I just said it was about.
When would Congress